Well, hello. We're here with James Conlon. I'm Harold Hill. James Conlon is our guest conductor this week in Orchestra Sinfónica de Castilla y León. We're playing two third symphonies of Brahms and Schumann. It's great music, and we want to welcome everybody to the auditorium who can come. Should be 4 concerts, starting on Wednesday. And hello, good morning, James Conlon. Buenos dias.
Buenos dias.
How are you?
Very glad to be here, and just to show you that we really do have our masks, but we have taken them off. We stay at a distance and talk. And I'm very happy to be here. I've never been to Valladolid, and of course it's a name I know because of Don Carlos and history, and so I'm hoping to get a little time to go and see it because I love old culture. I love old churches and monasteries, and I know there's a wonderful museum of sculpture here. And
yes,
so I'm hoping to get a chance to see all of that.
All these places like museums, I think they're open, with a limited number of people and so on, as are our concerts, because this is something we could talk about with respect to the pandemic. Now, we were talking now just as we were leaving the stage about how the acoustic is in the hall. We've done this thing now in our hall to make the stage larger. What is it like in other orchestras? Because you also conduct in the United States and in Italy. How much are you able to conduct now?
Well, that's a question, past tense and present tense and future tense. So, all of my career I've split between symphonic concerts and opera, and split between Europe and the United States. So my normal trajectory is like this. Of course, this year is like no other. I last conducted on February the 29th, which is leap year day, 2020 at the Rome Opera. Yeah. And the following week, I went off to Oxford to be a visiting professor for a week. And while I was there, every concert I had was canceled. Tour of Spain with the Rai Orchestra, concerts in the Rai, concert in Berlin. So my wife and I decided we better get home because it's looking bad. We went to Los Angeles. I'm a New Yorker. We have our home in New York, but I have another home in Los Angeles because I'm the music director of the opera for many years. And so we thought that's a better place to be, and we were right, because we are very lucky there. We were able to, our daughters are there, both of our 2 daughters, and we have a garden and we can walk, and so we had a safe year, even though the reports from Southern California are not good.
Right.
But we were fine. We never got sick. Both of my daughters got it mildly, but their old father and their still young mother did not get it. And we've both been vaccinated now, and we're very relieved about that. But life has changed completely, and even more so in America than in Europe. I mean, I've watched, of course, my friends and colleagues throughout Germany, Austria, Italy, what I hear from France, and here in Spain. And you are doing much more in Europe than the orchestras in the US. So I don't know how you've done it, but you've managed. I hope we will be back soon.
Yeah, there are a lot of challenges with this, but at first it's for us, from the musician's point of view, and I want to ask you about your conductor's point of view, that it was very strange to play on an individual stand far apart from the colleagues and trying to understand the whole collective sound. I think it's something we've actually gotten used to, and I think that's a valuable part of being able to keep working both for professionally, psychologically, emotionally. It's been very good for us to have kept working. And we've been very insistent also about having people wear masks and be properly distanced. Obviously, the wind players can't use masks. So let's have 2 questions. One is, how was it for you to have such a long lull in your career because you've been so active conducting, and then to not conduct for a long time? Has it been strange or have you noticed challenges to come back, or is it like riding a bicycle?
Well, first of all, I was at home for a year. I didn't take 1 airplane. I didn't miss that at all.
Right.
And I didn't conduct for exactly 1 year. In fact, my first rehearsal in Torino with Rai was on the 2nd of March, which makes it 1 year from February 29th of a year ago. And I think we're all, of course, anxious about the future and worrying for everybody, health, but also for culture and the future of classical music. That being said, I found it a very creative time. I was busy all the time. Don't ask me how, but I couldn't believe it myself. First of all, I write a lot, and so it was time to write. And I made a lot of podcasts, which are presented on the Los Angeles Opera website. This I do to keep our audience concentrated.
Yes.
On opera and music.
Yeah.
And so that I actually enjoy that. I do that.
Well, that's great.
And so I was actually very, very busy. So, but I'm glad to be back conducting. But this is only my second week.
Well, we're glad to see you here. It's quite a pleasure to have you here and doing this great repertoire. So do you? How do you notice the sound of the orchestra in terms of the acoustic and also the hall? Well, the hall itself and the acoustic, with the musicians being so spaced apart, does it present challenges to you as a conductor for timing and your choice of tempos, for instance? Is that affected?
Well, not my choice of tempos.
Yeah.
It may be that the resulting tempo is affected by the acoustic. Well, let's start by saying this is the first time I've been here.
Right.
I've just met the orchestra an hour and a half ago.
Exactly.
So I have no frame of reference.
Yeah.
I can't compare it to what the sound is like when you're in your normal positions. And I am, in general, I'm a fan of orchestras that are tightly knit together, where everybody can hear each other.
Yes.
And there aren't big spaces. And that varies all over the world. But I myself prefer a concise sound and concentration where everyone can hear each other. Now, that's the ideal. It's never the ideal, but that's an ideal. So this is not something I would prefer, to have great spaces like this.
Right.
That being said, we had to build out the stage in Torino as well, and that, of course, is an orchestra I know very well because I was chief conductor there for 4 or 5 years, and there the sound was actually better.
Oh.
And I think it can be very good for the sound, but it has challenges, and the challenges are most with the delay of the sound arriving to the front of the stage.
Yes.
So, of course, it's a particular challenge to the brass players, percussion if there are, woodwinds. The further you are away from the front of the stage, the more the sound tends to hear, because both ends of the orchestra can wait for the sound, and that's a problem, because then tempos tend to get slower. But as you saw, I read the whole symphony, and then that was the first thing I addressed, and I said, so this is the big challenge for me, because I'm new here and I don't know the acoustic, but I can tell you that the sound. And then we concentrated on it, and I think we're doing pretty well with it now. So I think we'll continue concentrating on that in the course of the rehearsals.
Well, I hope you can come back many times, and we'll have better circumstances to work with you. Let's see, are you optimistic now about the future of classical music, or do you think we're still going to go through some hard times coming up soon with the future of orchestras in general, or are we going to adapt and evolve successfully?
Well, we have to differentiate between classical music and the institutions of classical music.
Yes.
The challenges are for the institutions. Classical music is there forever. And thank God for that.
Yeah.
So it's a question of how well we are able to use some of the innovations, and there are innovations, certainly, technologically, and streaming and many things like that. I think the best is that if we are able to return to, of course, normal as soon as it is safe and possible to do so, but also that I certainly know from my own experience in Los Angeles that we've made a lot of innovations, which we have done because we had to. So I hope that we'll be able to hold on to those innovations, the good ones, and then regain the traditions that we have, and the normalcy that we have, and build on it. I think that people are very eager to come back to hear live music. That is my impression.
Here. I have talked to friends in Valladolid, and everyone was very upset when we've had to stop recently the concerts with public. So we've had to do several concerts now with live streaming, and this week we'll finally be getting back to, and I think there's an excitement here in Valladolid about the orchestra finally being able to perform live again. So,
well, I'm happy to be happy to be here, and I'm very happy that you are participating together with me in June in Madrid for this project, which is to do a two-cycle, the Schumann cycle and the Brahms cycle on 4 different days, or 3 different days. So I think you probably know that it was originally meant to be seven symphonies in one day with 4 orchestras. That was the original plan, and they had to change. I mean, I was looking forward to doing it as a sort of a marathon experience. With Bruckner and Shostakovich and Mahler and Beethoven and Dvorak. But that was impossible only because you could not, you had to empty the hall in order to clean the hall, in order to aerate the hall. So it was impossible to do in one day. And then, of course, the Mahler and the Shostakovich have such enormous orchestras.
Yes.
That it wasn't possible. So they came up with the idea, why not, there are 4 orchestras, let's do 4 symphonies, and of course Schumann and Brahms is perfect because, first of all, it's perfect music, all of it, and you have 4 and 4. So I don't have to do it in one day. I guess that's a relief. So.
Well, it's a challenge to do 2 symphonies. It's difficult music also because it's also music that's very well known. In fact, the Schumann symphony we haven't played very much in this orchestra, and it's quite but I think it's just beautiful music. It's just so full of contrast and drama and counterpoint and all those good things. Well, I think we should finish because we're actually at a break in rehearsal and we have to go back and work. So thank you again, James Conlon, and pleasure to have you here in Valladolid with us.
And thank you
we
for
look forward
having me.
to the concert.
My pleasure. My pleasure.